Hi, I'm Erin McCarthy, Editor-in-Chief of MentalFloss.com. Welcome to Mental Floss Video, and did you know that women are more likely to be witches? Let me clarify. Ever since the medieval period, people have generally believed that women are more susceptible to sinning than men are. And sinning, of course, includes stuff like devil worship and witchcraft. It's estimated that about 85% of people executed for being a witch in the 15th and early 16th centuries were women. The same was true during the infamous Salem Witch Trials nearly 200 years later. More women were executed than men. Which is why being a woman is the first of many reasons someone might have been considered a witch in the 1600s that I'm going to share with you today. Are you a lady who likes to spend time with her girlfriends and leave your dude at home? It seems ridiculous now, but in the 1600s, that was the kind of activity that would have gotten you accused of witchcraft, because multiple women hanging out without a male chaperone present could be considered a group of witches having a coven meeting. The fear of covens was actually part of the reason the Salem Witch Trials began in the first place. An enslaved woman named Tituba was one of the first to be accused of witchcraft, and when she confessed, she said that there was a coven in Salem. Experts don't know for sure why Tituba was accused, but for a long time it was thought that she encouraged young girls to participate in another activity that could get a person accused of witchcraft: fortune-telling. The story goes that after the girls tried to figure out the identities of their future husbands, they started acting weird, a sure sign that something witchy was afoot. But that wasn't the only reason Tituba may have been accused. She also supposedly aided a neighbor in the manufacture of a so-called witch cake that was made out of rye and the urine of the afflicted girls, which was then fed to a dog. It was thought that this would reveal whether or not witchcraft was at play. Obviously, the dog and the cake trick revealed nothing, and the neighbor's brand of sorcery was immediately denounced by a pastor as, quote, going to the devil for help against the devil. The neighbor repented, but the cake and the controversy around it led the girls to start talking about witches in Salem. Besides Tituba, the girls claimed two other women were witches. One was Sarah Good, who was extremely disliked and distrusted because she went from house to house begging for food. In other words, her witchy sin was being poor. The lower classes and the homeless, and those who were forced to rely on the community for support, were among the most vulnerable to accusations of witchcraft. Good was hanged in 1692. Being too dependent on the aid of others was one sign you might be a witch, but being too independent was also an issue. Sarah Osborne, who had been widowed and suffered from a long illness, was the third woman accused. Although she had remarried, scandalously, to a servant, the widow thing was a total red flag. Any indication that a woman could live without the help or supervision of a man was very alarming. According to the book Women's America, Refocusing the Past, of the 267 accused females, enough is known about 158 to identify them as either having or not having brothers or sons to inherit. Women from families without male heirs made up 64% of the females prosecuted, 76% of those who were found guilty, and 89% of those who were executed. A woman's age could also be an issue. Older women, both married and unmarried, were extremely susceptible to accusations of witchcraft. Rebecca Nurse, for instance, was in her early 70s when she was tried, convicted, and put to death for being a witch. You can visit her homestead, which is now a museum to this day. Okay, so if being old is a sign of witchiness, youth must get you off the hook, right? Wrong. Dorothy Good, Sarah Good's daughter, was only 4 years old when she was accused and confessed to being a witch. She was imprisoned for 9 months, and sadly, the experience left her permanently insane. According to the book Entertaining Satan, Witchcraft and the Culture of Early New England by John Demos, several people in town were responsible for the conviction of a lower-class woman named Rachel Clinton. Demos cites a witness, Thomas Borman, who claimed that, quote, some women of worth and quality accused her of hunching them with her elbow when she walked by them at church. If elbowing someone as you move past them is a witchy offense, then everyone on the New York City subway is guilty of being a witch. As we've established, even the slightest deviation from accepted norms meant you were a problem, and by a problem we mean a witch. Another victim at Salem was Martha Corey, who in her youth had an illegitimate and likely mixed-raced son. She'd eventually marry twice, the second time to Giles Corey, who himself was noted as, quote, a scandalous person in his former time. When the witch trials came about, it's thought that Martha became a critic of the girls who were accusing people of witchcraft. According to University of Virginia professor Benjamin Ray, the girls' accusation of Corey would be their first retaliatory strike against an individual who cast doubt upon their legitimacy. And with her defense likely harmed by her past indiscretions, Martha was convicted and hanged. Giles didn't escape punishment either. He was pressed to death. What's clear is that getting negative attention from or having an argument or disagreement with anyone in Salem could get you into trouble. Anyone could accuse anyone during the Salem Witch Trials. And they did. There was one particular profession that put people at risk of being accused: female healers. One healer named Margaret Jones was executed in 1648. Some of the evidence against her was that her patients became sicker instead of getting better. She had also warned people that if they didn't follow her prescribed treatments, they'd keep being sick, which today we'd say is just common sense. If you were married with no children or not enough children, that was a red flag. Infertility could be a sign that someone was cursed. And if your neighbors who happened to have 6 children were suffering in any way, they would almost certainly believe that the jealous, childless woman living next door had hexed their home. You had to have a certain character in order to not be considered a witch. Though, as you're probably figuring out by now, not being a witch at that time was pretty much an impossible task. John Demos summarized the accusations against Rachel Clinton by saying, "Did she not show the character of an embittered, meddlesome, demanding woman? Perhaps, in short, the character of a witch? Did she not scold and rail, threaten and fight?" Getting even weirder, birthmarks could be interpreted as the devil's mark. People also believed that the mark was where the witch's familiar, which were usually animals like a dog, cat, or snake, would attach itself to drink her blood. And possibly the weirdest accusation of all, several testimonials against witches mentioned spoiled dairy products in connection with the accused. Finally, breaking any rule in the Bible could indicate that you were a witch who'd entered into a pact with the devil, so we're going to end the episode with some rules the Puritans observed. Breaking them could lead to an accusation. The Puritans strictly observed the Sabbath, which meant no trading and no traveling. You couldn't commit adultery, lead people to other gods by prophecy or dreams, lie, be gluttonous or idle, or miss church. There would be no long hair and, as the Bible mentions, definitely no suffering a witch to live. Thanks for watching Mental Floss video, which is made with the help of all of these nice people. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments below. We'll see you next time.